This is the 8849 hike, the latest rugged powerhouse from 8849, and as always, it's built like an absolute tank. We're talking a monstrous 23,800 mAh battery with 120 watt fast charging, camping grade 1200 lumen light, a powerful flashlight with up to 300 meters range, and an IP68 rated body. It's rocking a 120Hz display, triple camera setup with night vision and telephoto, and all the specs you'd want in a survival ready phone. So let's see tech for what it is and start off by checking out what we get inside the box. Starting off by popping the lid off the box here. First thing is the hike itself, wrapped in this paper sleeve. Pop that out of there, and this is definitely one chunky boy. Put that to the side for now. We get a spare screen protector, a user guide with all the essentials of the phone. We get a warranty guide, SIM tray ejecting pin, 120 watt charger, and that's USB-C out. And finally, we get a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. Peel off the top layer of the screen protector, power it up, and let's jump into the design and build. So up front of the hike, we have a 6.7-inch LCD display up to 120Hz here. To the right, we have the fan intake along with the power button, which is also a fingerprint reader. Around the bottom, we have a microphone, and then underneath the waterproof flap, we have a headphone jack and the USB 2.0 port. No video out here. To the left, we have the SIM and SD card tray, and that has space for 2 nano SIMs along with an SD card. No eSIM compatibility on this phone. Then we got the volume buttons, and those protrude a little bit from the phone. Further down are the 2 function keys, which are recessed in the frame. Makes it a little easier to identify which one you're pressing without actually looking at them. Up top, let me get this protective sticker off. We have the built-in flashlight, or torch if you prefer, and you have quite a few controls over the super flashlight in its dedicated app. You can turn it on from here, and you also have the option to set a duration on how long it stays on for. And then you have 3 brightness options with level 1, 2 and 3. And hitting the highest level here, you're talking some serious light output. The flashlight on this phone is no ordinary LED. It pushes out a massive 1200 lumens of brightness. To put that into perspective, a standard LED flashlight on a regular smartphone usually sits between 40 and 60 lumens, or a typical household flashlight only manages around 100 to 300 lumens. So this is on another level entirely. With that kind of power, the beam can reach up to around 2 to 300 meters, which is the length of 2 to 3 football fields in front of you, and at the same time it casts a wider light closer around you. That's useful also. This is a proper high intensity flashlight that you could genuinely rely on outdoors at night, whether that's for camping, hiking, or even in emergency situations. This will have you covered when it comes to needing any sort of light. Then we have the 32 megapixel front facing camera along with the earpiece built into the bezel. And then turning to the back, we can see 8849's iconic design cues, and the back here is built using a combination of tough polycarbonate and metal. It's reinforced at the corners with rubberized bumpers for enhanced drop protection. So moral of the story is that this thing is built for durability. And the integrated LED camping light in the middle, which has a 1200 lumen brightness, so the light is perfect to create a soft but powerful flood of light. It's ideal for cooking outdoors, reading in a tent, or even as an emergency work light. We have the camera module having a triple lens setup, including a 50 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and a 64 megapixel night vision camera along with infrared sensors. There's also a handy loop at the bottom, so you can tie it to something or pop a necklace through it, hang it like a boss on your neck. Just above that is one of the speakers, and then further up is the second speaker. We get an IP68 rating, so no worries if it gets dunked in the water. So really good protection in that regard, and for dust too. Weight wise, we'd be expecting it to be quite heavy, and it comes in at 666 grams, which is the trade-off for that massive 23,800 mAh battery packed in here. And as I have it on deck, here is the hike on the right compared to the Tank 3S on the left. Link on the top right if you want to check the review on that. Thickness of the hike is 32 millimeters compared with 31 of the Tank 3S, so quite similar. And a quick look at the back of the phones and how the lights are set up differently here. Back is flat, so if you do use your phone laying it flat on a desk or something, you won't get any rocking. Super strong rigid build as is expected from 8849 phones. Other specs here are Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.3, we have NFC and various sensors such as gyroscope, compass and accelerometer. But let's jump into the display. For the display on the hike, here we have a 6.7-inch LCD panel with a refresh rate up to 120Hz and a PPI coming in around 396, so plenty sharp. In the display settings itself, we have mirror vision, which allows you to adjust the colors with standard, vivid or user mode, and that allows you to adjust the contrast, saturation or picture brightness. You also have a sharpness slider and can adjust the color temperature from the color wheel. And when in the other modes, you can enable and adjust blue light defender along with a toggle for dynamic contrast video enhancer. We have the usual brightness slider along along with adaptive brightness toggle, the usual lock screen settings with adding text, using device controls and things like that, screen timeout with options up to 30 minutes and a screen attention toggle too. There's your usual dark theme with schedule options and a font size slider along with bold text and high contrast text toggles. We have a night light which gives you the screen a warm temperature which you can schedule and adjust using the slider. For refresh rate, we have a 60Hz, 90Hz, 120Hz or auto, which allows you to jump into individual apps and adjust the refresh rate with options there. You have a lift to wake toggle and then options to change the font or change the icon shapes across the UI. When it comes to streaming, YouTube playback support a max of 1440p or 2K at 60 FPS. Colors here are nice and vibrant. Images are nice and crisp too. We do get wider than normal black bars on the sides here because of the tallness of the display, but nothing that takes away from the media you're consuming. On Netflix, we get level 3 wideband support, so that'll be standard definition playback only, unfortunately. So although content on here won't be the nice and sharp images you get with full HD playback, it still suffices. And for most people, they wouldn't even probably notice the difference. So whatever you're doing on the phone, the screen stays bright and delivers those nice vibrant colors. As I mentioned earlier, it's not the same level as a top tier OLED panel, but for what it offers, it's a solid, perfectly usable display that still makes your content look good. Visibility outdoors, generally it's okay. You're going to be able to see the screen well enough, though in direct sunlight or more intense lighting, it will become harder to see, but overall, it's enough brightness to use outside. When it comes to speakers, the Hike has two located around the back on the phone with quite decent sized chambers, so we can expect them to be quite loud. In the settings, we only really have a volume boosting option, but we'll have a listen to the speakers, and warning, the upcoming volume will be quite loud.
Hey, quick, put these on. You're not gonna throw a veteran in jail. Is this some kind of joke to you? Somebody get division! I got him!
On my way.
Hulk, I know you like making your entrance at the last second. Well, this is it, man. This is the last second. Oh, green asshole! I'll do it myself. Come on.
Overall, I would say the speakers on here are quite good. They get very loud and have a decent amount of depth, I would say. Tiny bit of bass response. I mean, I did notice at the higher frequencies, there might be a little bit of distortion, especially if you've enabled the volume boost. I mean, laying it flat, the sound is still good. I thought it might get muffled. You know, there was only maybe a tiny little bit of loudness that it loses. But overall, good speakers for media consumption and music. When it comes to performance, the Hike is working with the MediaTek Helio G200 chipset. We get 12GB of LPDDR4X RAM along with 512GB UFS storage. Obviously not top of the line. It's running on Android 14. That is obviously now an old version of Android with near enough stock Android on top, so that's always welcome. But there's no word on future OS update or security patches. In the settings for network and internet, we get the usual things here with hotspot and tethering, VPN and private DNS. Intelligent assistants, we get the memory extension that will allow you to add an additional 12GB of virtual RAM, and you have call recorder with different options like auto record and an enabling float button. In the shortcut settings, we have the settings for the two function buttons on the side of the phone. You can set it to control the camping light and then pick to trigger more features, which will open up the camping lamp app, and then you can turn it on from here, adjust the brightness, trigger SOS and things like that. Brightness switching will set it to trigger the camping light directly. PTT key lets you assign an app to use it as a walkie-talkie. Programmable key with symbol key settings or media key to control media like play and pause and skip features. And then shortcut settings which has short press, long press and double press options, and will let you trigger predefined shortcuts like screen recording, or you can assign a certain app to open like Chrome in this example here. And then the second function button, you can assign it to activate the super flashlight, and as I do that it pops up with a little warning message and works as intended. And then you have all the options that we saw earlier. We also get a nifty toolbox with various useful tools such as compass, bubble level, magnifier. There's a water and dust cleaning feature that uses vibration and sound to clear out the dust or water from the ports and speakers of the phone. Nice to have that on board. There's a pressure sensor, a plumb bob which can be useful if you need something like that, and you can manually turn on the fan if you need with different speed settings. So quite useful little array of features that can be useful and beneficial in many different scenarios. When it comes to device unlock, we have face and fingerprint unlock. Fingerprint is straightforward, setting up works well, and unlocking from what I could tell was nice and fast. Quick look at benchmarks, not going to expect much here. On Antutu we get a modest score of 445,000, so in line with, you know, the budget chipset offering. On 3D Mark Wildlife stress test, the less demanding one that is, we get a best loop of 1334 and a very good stability of 99.2%. Performance range, we can see it starts off low and ramps up and down throughout, and for monitoring battery stayed at 39%, so another testament to the incredible battery life on here. Temperature rose a little bit from 32 to 35 degrees Celsius, and frame rate was between 4 and 10, so overall what we would expect from a low-end chipset. But generally using the phone for daily things, you'll find it handles most things well. Of course, we're not going to get super fast snappy performance here, but app load times are good, opening quick enough, and web browsing was fine too. So for those more simple things, the phone is perfectly usable, and I didn't notice much lag or stutter, maybe occasionally here and there, but nothing that was drastic. And handled split screen no problem at all with two apps running side by side here. When it comes to connecting external storage, in my example here, one of my 4K project exports, scrubbing through that, and there's like a second delay overall, which is decent. And then this generic 4K drone footage is pretty much the same with a second or two delay when scrubbing through, but video plays absolutely fine. And I'll transfer this 1.74 gigabyte export video of mine over to the phone, and that took a minute and 10 seconds to transfer over. So again, not blazing fast here, but still a reasonable time. For video editing on here, I have that 4K video which is 4 minutes and 36 seconds long, loaded in CapCut. Scrubbing through, we can see there is a bit of lag when you're scrubbing fast, that is, but still perfectly workable. I'll add some text here and then export this at 4K 30 FPS recommended bitrate, and that in total ended up taking 7 minutes and 17 seconds to export. So yeah, it will take a while if you're exporting files at that size, but gives you an idea on the power and waiting times if you're looking to edit videos on here. We'll have a quick look at some gaming on here, and first thing, I'll connect my PS5 controller. Battery starting off is 31% and temperature is at 28 degrees Celsius. Brightness is at 100%, and I'll turn the volume up a little bit here. First game, COD Mobile, and we get medium as the highest graphic quality and high for frame rate. I've got anti-aliasing enabled, and most of the other options are missing or grayed out, and that's obviously again limitation of the chipset. And I'll start off with a multiplayer game. Jumping into that, the game visually does look actually quite good. I do have all the additional resources downloaded, so that obviously helps, but nice graphics at medium. Gameplay is nice and smooth with good frame rate. I'd say we're hitting maybe mid-20s, around that range. 10 minutes in and I'll jump into a battle royale game, and similar story here. Graphics look quite good, and the gameplay again is nice and smooth with no lag or stutter that I experienced. But COD Mobile is a very well optimized game on most chipsets, so that does help the case here. Next up is GTA San Andreas, and starting off with the highest graphic quality, we can see that it's not behaving well at all. The frame rate is really low here, and it's literally moving in slow motion, although graphically it does look very good. But again, I don't think this game is really that well optimized. I'll bring that down to halfway and back into the game. It has helped a little bit, running a bit smoother than before, but still not ideal. Turning the graphics all the way down makes the gameplay a lot better, but we sacrificed obviously all the graphic quality. So this game isn't the most optimized, like I said, but again showcases the limitation of the chipset. For Genshin Impact, I've got everything set to the highest available in the graphic settings, and surprisingly this game was actually running quite well here. Again, could be because of optimization, and the graphics also look really good. Not the best I've seen, but still decent, and the gameplay nice and smooth. I'd hazard that it's around maybe the 20s, low 30s here. Half an hour in and game still running fine, and we can see here the temperature has increased to 35 degrees and battery is down down to 28%, so a loss of 3% there. I'll start off what's on the mobile with the highest graphics settings, and with those the game visually looks really good and is running smooth enough, but we can see the FPS is hovering just below the 20s there. I'll come down to medium for graphic quality and resolution and target 60 FPS, and that does help with the FPS now hitting over 20s, so it's running a little bit smoother than before. In Roblox, I'll start off with max graphics quality and then the additional graphics turned on, and playing with those settings the game is actually running quite well. I mean, it's obviously not super smooth, but you can tell there is a little bit of a low FPS count here. And if I turn off some of the graphics settings and switch to auto on the main setting, and that does make quite a difference with the game now running a lot more smoother and fluid than before. And as you can see, I'm driving at these high speeds and it's managing to keep up quite nicely. Last game would be Fallout 84. Here balance is the highest you can pick for the graphic quality, and I've got FPS set to high. And again, though not the best graphics, still decent enough, and the game is running smooth enough for my liking, so seems to be handling it quite well here. And then an hour into back-to-back gameplay, we finish off with the temperature at 38 degrees, so steadily increased throughout the session, and it does feel quite warm around the frame, and the battery finishes off at 26%, so a total loss of 5% in an hour gaming, which is pretty darn good. I mean, we obviously haven't had super demanding session because of the limited graphic settings in most games, but the phone seemed to handle most games quite well with smooth, consistent gameplay. You can't expect high graphics here with high FPS, but for casual light gaming, it works fine. When it comes to cameras, the Hike has a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main lens, 8 megapixel telephoto lens and a 64 megapixel night vision lens, along with LED flashlight and infrared lights. Around the front is a 32 megapixel lens which is fixed focus. In the camera itself, for modes we have infrared, video, photo, Pro, and in more we have a few other modes like time-lapse and mono. In the video mode settings we get the scene mode along with an EIS toggle. For video quality the max here is 2K, no FPS option, so I'm going to take that. It's locked at 30 FPS. You can pinch to zoom up to 10 times and also have 3.4 times telephoto lens zoom. For the front facing camera there's similar settings, but the max resolution here is 1080p 30 FPS. In photo we have things like raw toggle, self timer, ZST, you can pick picture ratio, and then the usual generic settings like grid lines and level meter. And again you have 1 times or 3.4 times telephoto zoom, and you can pinch to zoom digitally up to 20 times. For infrared mode we have similar options to the normal photo mode along with a brightness slider, and here you can pinch to zoom up to 10 times only. In infrared video mode, max resolution here is 1080p FHD, and again similar options to the normal video mode minus EIS. But let's check out some captures from the Hike. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional photographer, but I do try my best, so this is what I managed to capture with the phone. Just doing a quick test with the Hike, see what the video quality is like. This is at 2K. Can't see any options to actually switch to a different lens. I will check out zoom all the way up to 10x here. This is the front facing camera. One of the main highlights of the Hike would be its absolutely massive 23,800 mAh battery, which supports 120 watt fast charging, so topping up to 100% will take around an hour and a half or so. We also have 10 watt reverse charging on deck, so doubles up as a pretty good power bank with plenty of capacity. The battery on here is going to last you many days. I mean, if you're using it casually and light, you can squeeze out a week or so, as I found in my testing, and even probably longer than that. Pushing it with more intensive things like using the super flashlight, camping light, and like heavy gaming, you'll still get a few days. So when it comes to battery, you literally don't have to worry about that at all. Super good battery life here without a doubt. You'll get up to 75 days standby on the Hike, and in my video streaming test with brightness at 80% and streaming YouTube and Netflix at 1080p, it managed 46 hours of back-to-back streaming along with up to 28 hours of using the camping light, and you can also get about up to 118 hours of calling, so no matter what the situation, the battery on here will just keep on going and going. So to wrap this up, the 8849 Hike is without a doubt one of the most extreme rugged devices you can buy. The 23,800 mAh battery is a monster, backed by 120 watt fast charging and reverse charging, giving you that peace of mind that power is never going to be a concern. The extra features like the super bright flashlight, camping light and warning lights make it more than just a fun, practically outdoor survival tool. Performance wise, the Helio G99, Helio G100, Helio G200 based chipset with up to 12GB RAM and 512GB storage is solid for daily use, obviously not flagship level or anywhere near that. Cameras are surprisingly versatile with the 50 megapixel main sensor, which is quite decent, and then the night vision camera with the telephoto lens, which are okay as well, I guess. But there are trade-offs. I mean, it is really heavy at 666 grams and it's quite thick as well, so it's literally like carrying a brick. So it's not something that you're probably going to have on your person on a regular basis, more something that you carry in a backpack. Wireless charging is obviously missing. So who's this for? If you want a rugged device that doubles up as a power station and survival kit, then the Hike is unmatched. But if you're after sleek design, top tier performance or something pocket friendly, then this definitely isn't the one for you. In short, the Hike nails its niche, but I guess it's not going to be for everyone. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.